Stop Taiwan. I'm Louise with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's president and the head of the country's de facto US embassy are promoting civil defense training. It's part of a new push to get Taiwanese prepared for the worst-case scenarios. A workshop in northern Taiwan simulates the aftermath of a typhoon and a landslide, with many injured people to deal with. The first responders training here are joined by Taiwan's president, Ching-te, showing his previous experience as a doctor. Joining the president at the workshop was the head of the de facto US embassy in Taiwan, which organized the event along with a non-profit, the Taiwan Development Association for Disaster Medical Teams. The scenario is grounded in reality. Taiwan suffers from typhoons and other natural disasters, and also faces the threat of conflict with China, which vows to one day control the country. Taiwanese have flocked to civil defense training since Ukraine was invaded by its own huge neighbor, Russia. Most workshops in Taiwan are taught by non-profit groups, but Lai wants authorities to help boost Taiwan's civil defense too.
那小朋友的妈妈一直在催促我很痛快一点，血流那么多表示说大家非常入戏非常入戏，就完全不是随便应付而已。
Taiwan's president says that his hope is for everyone to be able to protect themselves and their communities, thus making Taiwan more resilient in the face of any future disasters. Justin Wu and Louise for TaiwanPlus. Speaking in Canada, Taiwan's former president, Tsai Ing-wen, says her country has ramped up investment in its self-defense.
Taiwan, for example, has continued to increase defense investment over the past 8 years. Our defense budget has risen by over 80%, at a rate of nearly 8% each year. I want to emphasize that this is well above our average GDP growth of 3.74% over this period, which is 2018 to 2016 to 2023.
Tsai was speaking at the Halifax International Security Forum in Nova Scotia, where she accepted a leadership prize. During her speech, Tsai emphasized the need to support Ukraine to deter authoritarian aggression.
Therefore, effective deterrence against authoritarian expansionism is fundamental to safeguarding our democracies and maintaining international order. That is why our continued support for Ukraine remains imperative, as a Ukrainian victory will serve as the most effective deterrence against future aggression.
Tsai was Taiwan's president from 2016 until earlier this year. Taiwan's main opposition party, the KMT, has warned against independence forces harming the country. The KMT's chair, Eric Chu, spoke at the party's annual congress.
The
KMT leader says that Taiwan must continue existing as the Republic of China, Taiwan's official name. He told delegates that its roots are the Chinese nation and culture. The KMT moved to Taiwan in 1949 after losing a civil war to Mao Zedong's communists. Beijing has passed a law that allows it to take military action if Taiwan declares formal independence from China. Taiwan's ruling party says it has no need to declare independence because Taiwan is already a sovereign country. People have come together in Taipei for a candlelit vigil in memory of children killed and injured in armed conflicts in Gaza and Lebanon. The event, held in honor of World Children's Day, hopes to shine a light on the war's toll on civilians, Chris Gorin was there.
Sulong, sulong, sulong Palestina, laban Palestina.
Dozens have come to Taipei's main train station to hold a vigil and bring attention to the plight of children in the Gaza Strip and Lebanon. To mark World Children's Day, celebrated earlier this week, people here say children and other civilians in those areas are caught in the middle of fighting between Israel and militant groups Hamas and Hezbollah. A recent report by the UN Human Rights Office says that as many as 70% of those killed in the war in Gaza are women and children, numbers disputed by Israel. Participants wrote down the names of the children killed in the conflicts and read aloud stories about them.
Ibrahim was injured and received no treatment.
Ibrahim was injured and received no treatment.
For 5 days in Gaza.
For 5 days in Gaza.
He died a painful death.
He died a painful death.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace.
Organizers say it's difficult for stories about the violence in Gaza to break through in Taiwan.
I think in Taiwan, there's a tendency for it to just puppet mainstream media, especially Western news, and it does not reflect the reality of the world.
As Israel's attacks in the region press on, those here are calling on the world to prioritize the safety of children in war. Patrick Chun and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Russia has accused the United States of using Taiwan to stoke a crisis in Asia to serve its own interests. In a statement, Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister said US efforts to strengthen ties with Taiwan violate the One China principle, in which Beijing says it is the sole government of China and Taiwan is part of China. The US does not recognize Beijing's position. It remains Taiwan's key international ally and main arms supplier. A deal has been reached at the COP29 UN Climate Summit in Azerbaijan to provide funding for developing countries to combat climate change. The agreement will provide developing countries with $1.3 trillion every year, but many participants say they're not satisfied with the outcome, which will see less than a quarter of the money come directly from developed nations as grants and loans. The rest is expected to come from private investors or future levies on fossil fuels. The CEO of NVIDIA, the world's most valuable company, says he expects global tech cooperation to continue in the coming years.
Open science and global cooperation across math and science has been around for a very long time, and it is the foundation of social advancement and scientific advancement. It's going to continue.
Huang also told the audience at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, where he received an honorary doctorate, that the age of AI has started. Policymakers worldwide are closely watching how US President-elect Donald Trump will approach AI and his country's relationship with China. Trump has threatened sweeping tariffs on imports, which would affect many of the products behind the AI revolution. Films about COVID-19 and a gay romance have won big at Taiwan's Golden Horse Awards, which celebrate the Chinese-speaking world's best cinema. Wesley Lewis reports.
A star-studded evening at this year's Golden Horse Awards in Taipei. Snatching the night's top prize for Best Film was Chinese docudrama, An Unfinished Film. Screenwriter Ma Yingli expressed gratitude as she accepted the award.
非常很复杂的感觉，就是也没想到，也似乎也对，就是很高兴，因为这个作品真的是不是说导演或者是仅仅几个主演主创的作品，这个作品真的是我们感觉是大家一起的，而且是一个一起嗨、一起玩。
An Unfinished Film tells the story of a crew navigating how to successfully shoot a movie during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ma says they started this project even before the onset of the pandemic lockdowns, and that it had evolved over time.
我们俩疫情期间被关在就被 lockdown 在一个乡下，然后我们就开始说把以前的一些东西开始来编故事。
Hong Kong actress Chung Set-ying also won big this year, taking home the Best Actress award for her portrayal of a deaf girl in the film The Way We Walk. And black and white film Bel Ami took home multiple awards including Best Actor, Best Cinematography, and Best Editing. Produced in France, the film is a satire centered around China's gay and lesbian communities. Among the ceremony's celebrity attendees were Oscar-winning American actor Ke Huy Quan. On the red carpet, he said he was glad to have been invited back to the awards after many years.
好开心哦，因为你知道我第一次来参加金马奖就是1985年，and you know 我妈妈那时候是陪我来的，因为我是一个小孩，我等了将近40年，才终于等到金马奖再邀请我来参加and you know 我真的很开心。
In its 61st year, the Golden Horse Awards continues to be one of Asia's most prestigious film awards. Although the awards were boycotted for several years by Chinese filmmakers over comments made by one award winner in 2018 supporting Taiwan independence, films by Chinese filmmakers have now won the top prize 2 years in a row. Widely considered the Oscars for the Chinese-speaking world, the Golden Horse Awards continue to recognize excellence in Chinese language cinema. Ryan Wu and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
Many Hanoi residents are nursing hangovers today after an annual beer festival in the city. Thousands of beer lovers piled into a stadium in Vietnam's capital for the Hanoi Beer Festival 2024. The event celebrates the country's growing beer culture. Vietnam is home to a thriving craft market and traditionally produces beer Hoi. At less than $1 a glass, it's one of the cheapest beers on earth. For much of the last century and a half, donkeys were the go-to choice for low-income vendors carrying their wares through the streets of Pakistan's largest city. But now inflation and urban sprawl have some wondering whether the donkeys are here for the long haul. Bryn Thomas reports.
Like many people in Karachi's donkey cart business, Mohammed wonders if his asses are still assets. A few years back, it cost him less than $1 a day to feed his animals. Today, it costs him around free.
पहले भी यही मजदूरी कर रहे थे, पहले भी तकरीबन गधा गाड़ी चला रहे थे, बाकी पहले कुछ और टाइम था वहाँ सस्ता ही थी और हर चीज़ सस्ती मिलती थी.
For much of the last 150 years, donkeys were the cheapest way to haul things through Karachi's narrow streets. Coming to and from local markets, their carts were so common that they required license plates. That's all changed. A combination of inflation and urban sprawl has made donkeys less economical. At nearly 20 million people, Pakistan's largest city is 50 times more populous than it was 80 years ago. That boom has come with modern roads, making donkeys impractical. Their sellers say people still eye the animals, but after a bit of heeing and hawing, usually leave empty-handed.
हम लोग आते हैं इधर बैठ के चलाते हैं, खर्चे भी हो जाते हैं, बिकते नहीं दोबारा कर ले जाते हैं, फिर एक हफ्ता इंतजार करते हैं उसके लिए, फिर जब ये इतवार आता है उस इतवार फिर ले आते हैं, बिक गया तो बिक गया, नहीं बिक गया तो समझ ये खर्चा मेरा दोबारा चलेगा, ये होता है इसमें। बिक गया तो हमको 2-4 हज़ार मिल जाते हैं, नहीं बिका तो समझ एक हफ्ते का खर्चा और बढ़ेगा गधे का।
There's one donkey for every 40 people in Pakistan. And while inflation is cutting into profits, they remain the cheapest option for shipping short distances. So while some may be in favor of phasing them out, others remain stubborn.
कभी क़यामत तक खत्म नहीं हो रहा है। 76.5 साल मैंने आपकी उम्र अपनी बताई, तो अभी भी मैं मर जाऊंगा, मेरा बजदाई कोई 76.5 साल में आ जाएगा, नहीं होगी खत्म।
So while it's clear that the donkey's heyday may be over, it will be a long time yet before they're put out to pasture. Fu Hua Hong and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, we leave you with images of Mars in East London, a giant replica of the Red Planet in the Old Royal Naval College in Greenwich. I'm Louise Watt. Take care. We'll see you next time.